Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is a Friday. TGIF, everybody. Tyler James here. What I'm going to be doing on this live broadcast is in about 5 minutes, I'm going to be getting rocking and rolling with the ComixLaunch Mastermind info session. All right. ComixLaunch Mastermind is a group that I've been running for 2 years now. We'll be going into our third year, and we are about to open up enrollment for our 2020 group, bringing on some new members to join the ComixLaunch Mastermind. So I'm going to talk about that starting at 10 a.m. I'm jumping on just a few minutes early to make sure that my tech is working. See, we got Scotty in the house, so I know at least one person is seeing this, which is very cool. Usually it takes a little bit for the live stream sites, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching this, to get broadcasted out. So I'm jumping on a little bit earlier and getting set up. But while I'm here early, I did want to, since a lot of you follow me for Kickstarter advice and news and all of that jazz, I did want to make sure that all of you out there in Kickstarter land know that January is Kickstarter's Make 100 month. All right. And so if you haven't participated in Make 100 before, really what this is a challenge to get you, the creator, to think a little bit smaller and to start the year out with launching something. And so Kickstarter really started this, I believe, I think this is the third year they've actually done it. But I think one of the reasons why Kickstarter started this is because they wanted to address the myth that a crowdfunding campaign had to be this big, massive endeavor, right? You know, we see the multi-million-dollar projects up there, or even like the big projects, or in the comic space, we tend to think, oh, well, if it's not a graphic novel or some like big epic thing that we've been working on for years, well, it's not worth, quote unquote, worth a Kickstarter. But really, those massive projects are actually a lot. That's a tough way to start your Kickstarter experience. So Kickstarter encourages you to start with smaller projects and Make 100. The idea that you're going to make 100 of one thing and then offer that as a pledge to your audience, like, that suddenly seems a lot less daunting. And in the month of January, if you launch a project between January 1st and January 30th, if you include Make 100 in the project's title, and if you have at least one reward on your pledge that is capped at 100 backers, Kickstarter will consider that a Make 100 project, and you'll be in the running for getting some extra love on your project. So just wanted to, before we jump into the ComixLaunch Mastermind session that I have planned for all of you today, and to give you some information about masterminds and specifically the ComixLaunch Mastermind, I did want to just share that Make 100 news for you. So hope everybody's having a good morning. Let me know what's going on in your world, where you're watching us from, what's up with you. And I can see most chats that are coming through, but I will be focusing on doing a little bit of this slide presentation, but I should be able to see your comments as well as they come through. So we'll get going in just about 2 minutes. See, we have Rob in the house. What's up, Rob? What's up, Scotty? And if anyone else is watching, go ahead and let us know. I see we got about 9 people there. Just one more thing about the Make 100. In January, my best advice is, if you are already planning on launching a project in January, all you have to do is add one pledge level that's capped at 100 backers, that's limited to 100 backers, and you'll qualify for that event. And then, or you can really go the extra mile and create an event that really leans into that 100 amount. So maybe that's 100 sketchbooks, or 100 sketches that you'll do, or 100 prints, and do a print that's limited to 100. It can be very, very easy. It can be very, very light, and it can get your year off to a great start, launching something to get your audience excited and to get some funding coming in so that you can power your year and have a great year on Kickstarter and beyond. So I love the Make 100 event, and I'll be looking forward to seeing some comics launchers Make 100s in the, in just a few weeks now, because January is right around the corner. All right. So by my watch here, it's 10 a.m. sharp. See, we've got some folks that have just woke up. And good morning, Samantha. Nice to have you on here as well. And what I want to just do for a second here is I'm going to share my screen again. And there we go. And so we're going to dive into the ComixLaunch Mastermind info session. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and anyone that's watching the replay, thank you so much for checking this out as well. What I would like to just start is by thanking you and welcoming you, and thanks for watching this and for learning a little bit more about this concept. It's a concept that's been very powerful in my life, and it's a concept that I have been able to bring to a lot of creators in our world, and I think it's been very powerful for many of them as well. And so I'm excited to share it with you as well. And so you're in the right place if you are a creator. That means a writer, an artist, a publisher who's interested in growing your audience, your network, and your creative business in the coming year. All right. I think that probably applies to most of us, but a quick check-in. I would love to hear just from those of you watching who has been in a mastermind before or is currently in a mastermind. You can just respond. 1, you're in one right now. 2, yes, but you're not, you've been in one before, but you're not in one now. No, you haven't been in a mastermind before, or you're not sure. And if you're not sure if you've been in a mastermind, then we're definitely going to take care of you today, because you'll know exactly what a mastermind is by the time we get through this info session. Before we dive into that, I just wanted to share a little bit about me for those of you whose feeds I just happened to pop up into by mistake or not. But if you're unfamiliar with me, I'm Tyler James. I'm a writer. I'm an artist. I'm an award-winning game designer, publisher, and an educator. And I'm the co-founder of the internationally distributed comic book, graphic novel, and children's book imprint Comics Tribe. And I host ComixLaunch, which is the top-rated podcast for writers, artists, and self-publishers that focuses on crowdfunding. And what I do is I help creators successfully launch their dream projects. And one of the principles that I've been sort of leading my life by for the past decade is that you can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. And so a big part of what I've been doing is focusing on, well, what do the creators that I want to impact the most, that I want to work with the most, what do they need? What's missing? And what can I help them get so that they can get what they want? And as a result, it just so happens that it tends to come back around my way as well. I started Comics Tribe which was the imprint that I co-founded. And one of our ethoses as we started from absolute scratch, our publishing imprint, was this concept that we were going to share everything that we learned along the way. And one of our early taglines was creators helping creators make better comics. And that eventually led to ComixLaunch, which is really where I saw that crowdfunding was one of those things that for Comics Tribe, it helped us make a quantum leap from, just basically struggling and to get noticed and barely doing any sales to getting a big influx in capital and cash, which allowed us to do so many more things. And as a result, I got a lot of people asking questions about crowdfunding and a lot of interest there. And so I dove deep on that topic within the ComixLaunch podcast, and I've been doing that for over 4 years now. This past decade has been a lot of growth for Comics Tribe. Again, we started in 2011 from absolute scratch. Since then, with a big help from Kickstarter, we've done over $500,000 in sales on the Kickstarter platform, projects in multiple categories, multiple types of projects, and just done a lot of cool stuff. But in addition to just funding on Kickstarter, that's also opened up a lot of other doors, things like diamond distribution, things like being able to be at the on the biggest comic book conventions in the world, full publisher status on Comixology, sales on Amazon. We have representation in place for media opportunities, and I'm currently negotiating my 5th foreign licensing deal this week. All of that really got rolling with Kickstarter, and so so that's some of the experience that I have here, and some of the ways that I've tried to help creators continue to get what they want include free workshops, which some of you may have attended. Occasionally I'll do free online challenges. We'll have another one of those coming up in April. I created some books and other resources. There's a Patreon that I put extra resources on. I do have premium courses that focus on Kickstarter, on email list building, on sales beyond the Kickstarter platform, and then also how to use Facebook ads to do a whole lot more with this. And then I've also added to the mix masterminds, which I've been running for the last 2 years. All right. Part of the reason I do this is because I like being on a winning trajectory, right? The goal of ComixLaunch when I started doing this was to move the needle on this success rate right here. Less than half of all projects were succeeding on Kickstarter when I started ComixLaunch. Now we're closing in on 59. We're closing in on 59%, and that's a really great trend that I love being a part of. And I love the fact that all of you that are watching this, many of you, I see names of people that are launching and succeeding on Kickstarter and just running awesome, amazing campaigns, and you're all a part of this trend. And what's cool about this graph, especially, is if you put this graph next to any other category on Kickstarter, there is no other category on Kickstarter that is like the comics category. No other category on Kickstarter that has had this, this looks like a staircase you could walk up. There's no other category that looks like that. Kickstarter actually is very, very flat in terms of what the success rate has looked like over the last 4 years. Our community really is special. And so I just want to start with the question as we're coming up on the end of the year. Like, how has your year been this year? Like, how has your year been? I'd love to just see, scale of 1 to 10, how has your year been? And I always encourage at this time of year to do some reflection about, hey, what happened this year? How did my actual results compare to what I set out to do? And then what lessons can I learn from that? And then how do I take things up a notch in the new year? For me, like I've definitely had some big wins this year. This was the year we launched and funded 4 successful Comics Tribe projects. That's a new record in terms of number of projects launched and funded in a year. Part of that was shrinking the duration of projects, which definitely helped with that. Some other wins was that the latest Comics Tribe series, Wailing Blade, actually set new company bests for single issue sales in the direct market and on Kickstarter. So this was our biggest direct market launch yet. I also was able to complete my longest running personal project, the Red 10, and get it funded and successfully launched and funded in just 10 days. And we'll be getting that. The books are going to print like this week. So excited about that. I've also had some big wins working with creators in the context of ComixLaunch Pro. Enrollment for ComixLaunch Pro courses and communities has continued to grow. The creators inside our community have now had over 170 successful launches. Some examples of creators that I worked with specifically in the ComixLaunch Mastermind. Don Hanfield, his first Kickstarter, raised over $26,000. Rob Moltari, who's here, and Rob says his year is a 10, and I love hearing that, Rob. Rob was another member of the ComixLaunch Mastermind. It was impressive to see him so diligently work on his campaign and plan his campaign and then actually execute on it and get funded and then overfunded. That was great to see, Rob, and congrats to that. And so it's been a real treat being a part of all of these creators' success stories. Our community has now raised over $925,000 for creators that I've coached through this. And it's been fun to see that number just keep going up and up and up. Also this month, I'm celebrating my 3rd anniversary of leaving the quote unquote day job and being a full-time creator. And for me, like, that's what this is really all about, like creating and launching my projects and then helping other talented creators with their launches. Like, that's what I do all day, every day, when I'm not getting the time to watch this guy grow up behind and that's 1 year of growth right there. And so never let it be said that a lot can't change in 1 year. And so again, one of the things that I've also done over the last couple of years is created the ComixLaunch Mastermind, and I've introduced dozens of creators to the power of the mastermind groups. And so I just want to share some wins from some of the creators in the mastermind groups that I've run have had over the last year. And these are wins both big and small. And for some of you, these wins might sound astronomical. For some of you, they might sound, oh, that's quaint. But the important thing is, and one of the things that I've learned is it can be incredibly powerful, is you celebrate all wins, no matter how big or small. So one creator in the group got the first amazing review for their comic series. Another group built a Facebook fan page to 4,000 likes. Another invested in a digital inking course. Another recruited a new artist partner for a series. Another hit their writing goal, word count goal for the quarter. Another had a recent project covered in the New York Times. Another registered a trademark for a new project. One launched a $33,000 Kickstarter project. Another collaborated with a fellow mastermind member on an anthology project. Another finally got their new webcomic up and running. Another negotiated a partnership with a game company. Another built a Facebook group of comic book anthology creators to over 250 members. One pushed a digital comic release to the top of the Kindle charts. Another got a pitch accepted for an exciting anthology project. Another's first Kickstarter launch raised $26,000. Another finally set up an LLC for his creative business. One got their book selling on ComixLaunch. Another interviewed and then hired an editor for comic book projects. Another had their best Kickstarter launch ever and then launched again and topped it again. Another wrote 3 scripts in 3 months. Another hired a director of sales and marketing to take sales and social media off his plate. Another launched, funded, and fulfilled a Quickstarter project. And another hired an awesome illustrator for their first children's book project, and then later in the year funded it on Kickstarter. And that's just a small number of wins from creators in the group. And so one of the key practices for my growth and for the growth of the creators that I see having the most success is that they continually invest back in themselves and in their creative businesses. And I do believe that you'll see the biggest return when you invest in 2 things. You invest in your skills and then you invest in your network. Skills and network, skills and network. Those are multipliers right there. And so what we're going to talk about in this info session is we'll cover exactly what is a mastermind, what a mastermind can do for your creative business. I'll talk a little bit about why did I, missing a word there, why I started the ComixLaunch Mastermind in the first place and why I'm continuing it in 2020. We'll talk about what's included in the ComixLaunch Mastermind. How does the ComixLaunch Mastermind work? What's the commitment and the investment to be a part of the ComixLaunch Mastermind? How you can apply, and if there's any questions that we haven't gone on and answered, I'm happy to answer those as well. All right. And so let's begin with what is a mastermind really? And honestly answer this question is where I like to start. Like, honestly answer this question. Right now, besides yourself, how many people are there on this planet who know exactly what it is that you're trying to create this week, this month, this year, in the next 5 years, and in your lifetime? How many people do you have in your life that also want you to succeed and are regularly thinking about what they can do to help you on your mission? How many people do you have in your life that you can offer, that will offer you good, knowledgeable advice and will always tell it to you straight, even if it's not what you want to hear, but might be what you need to hear? And then how many of these people do you meet with on a regular, consistent basis to talk about these things because that relationship is a priority in your life and because it's important? How many people in your life, in your world right now, do you have that fit that description? And I'll be honest, if you have one person in your life that fits all of that, you're actually doing pretty good, because so many of us, we've got these big dreams, we've got these big ambitions, we've got these big aspirations, but they're all trapped inside of us. And that can cause us to miss opportunities and for growth and for connection, and actually can hurt our ability to make those dreams and those things a reality. All right. And so the mastermind flips it. All right. Imagine there was a small group of high performers and achievers, creators that you respect the hell out of and admire, and they had you on your minds consistently. Imagine this group was there and they're thinking about how they can support you, include you, collaborate with you, connect with you, and create with you. Like, what would it do if you had some people like that in your life? What kind of difference would that make in your creative business and in your life? And so things where that comes into play is things like accountability. Like, Brant Fowler is a creator in the ComixLaunch Mastermind, and he's got big visions and big dreams. But one of the things that he found that really helped with the group is an accountability in getting him to declare what he's going to do, and then actually have people following up, expecting him to report back to say that he actually did it. And that's helped him get more writing done over this past year. Another thing is support. When we have launches, when we have big things going on, it's nice to have a group of people that have been seeing us work hard on this thing and then know that, all right, it's time to really lean in and help whether it comes to providing extra ideas for projects, or have like in the development stage, or when they're actually launched. And at the end of last year, Clay Adams just had his biggest Red Christmas. It was his most funded, most backed project ever. He's going to top that with this year's Red Christmas launch, which is already off to a great start as well. But it's again, nice to have that support system. A mastermind can also be your own personal brain trust. All right. It's important to get around people that are in this world uncovering these things, and to have people that we can go to, that we know, that we trust, that can offer perspectives above and beyond our own, or to get just initial sounding boards for the things that we want to do in this world. All right. And so a mastermind really is a small focus group of like-minded creators who are going to meet regularly to share resources and connections, sharpen and strengthen their creative business strategies, and to support each other in mutually beneficial ways. And so a mastermind can be a safe space for big, scary ideas, instant feedback, a pool of resources, collaborations and joint ventures, info and network sharing, shining light on new possibilities, and pushing others and being pushed to achieve our own greatness. All right. Albert Lim's been a founding member of the ComixLaunch Mastermind. And one thing he said is, if I ask a question, I know I'm going to get a quality answer that's going to improve me. And that's because of the quality of the people in the group. The monthly mastermind meetings help keep me on track, and the check-ins help keep me focused on doing the things I said I was going to do. All right. And so I also want to share what a mastermind is not. All right. A mastermind is not a how-to course. All right. It's not a sage on a stage seminar. While I personally facilitate mastermind sessions, I'm not I'm not there to answer all of the questions. I'm there to facilitate, and I'm there to draw out the collective genius of the group. So it's not the Tyler James Mastermind, it's the ComixLaunch Mastermind, and it's filled with ComixLaunch pros. All right. It's also not a done-for-you service. It's not a one-on-one coach, and it's not an overcrowded, nameless group where you can anonymously sort of hide in the crowd, or sit back in the back of the classroom and not engage and expect to get the benefits. It's one where you're expected to bring your own insight, your own expertise, your own value to the group as well. All right. It's also not a group where anyone and everyone can get in. There needs to be, for a good mastermind, there needs to be a certain criteria for it to be in, so that the conversations that are being had in that group are at a level that's going to be valuable to the people in that group. For example, you wouldn't have a group of of Pop Warner coaches probably would not add the same amount of value as a mastermind of Pop Warner coaches would not be the same amount of value, not have the same amount of discussions as a mastermind of NFL coaches, for example, right? You want to make sure that people in the group are trying to head to the same direction, even if they're not, identical, and rare are they going to be identical. But some things that a mastermind can do for you, they can help you achieve your business goals faster. They can provide some structure and accountability. They can help you troubleshoot issues and find solutions. They can give you access to new resources, contacts, and networks. They can help you uncover blind spots and tap into new ideas and hear a fresh perspective other than your own. And they give you opportunities for community and connection. And they're also a lot of fun. I mean, it's fun to get together once a month and talk about the stuff that we work so darn hard on, and to also hear the cool stuff that other creators are working on as well. And so One thing Clay Adams said is that the mastermind hot seats, and a hot seat is where you basically bring your issue to the table and get the perspective and the feedback from everyone in the group. So the mastermind hot seats are incredibly valuable. I walk away from the sessions on a high from connecting with all these great people with stuff that I can walk away and do. And so I'd love to just hear in the chat on the replay. You can also go ahead and throw this in if you watch the replay, but what best describes the most important thing that you're trying to accomplish in this coming year? Are you shooting for a personal best crowdfunding launch? Are you trying to seriously increase the size of your fan base? Are you trying to break into new sales channels? Are you trying to finally complete a big creative passion project? What's coming up for you? What's the most important thing that you're trying to accomplish in the coming year? And if it's something other than those, let me know that as well. The truth is, though, in working with creators in mastermind groups over the past couple of years, we've had creators that have done all of those things. James Powell was in the ComixLaunch Mastermind, and during that time, he got a new high funding total for a Kickstarter launch of his, House of Fear, which later was collected this year by Dark Horse, which was very cool. Yeah, that was an awesome thing to see for James as well. And so it's exciting to, see these projects in development and then see what comes among them and to feel a part of that, right? Melody Pena completed a big passion project. And in case you're wondering what it looks like when you have a $100,000 Kickstarter launch in the form of books, yeah, you might need to get a forklift to handle them. And so I started the ComixLaunch Mastermind because I realized that there were creators in my extended network of thousands who are on the cusp of breakthrough years, but they don't necessarily need another course. They need connection. They need community. They need contacts. They need accountability. They need a mastermind. And so I realized that some of my greatest value to my audience might just be my ability to connect and assemble the right group of creators. And I know that it's not necessarily just about what I know or I can do. And that no one has a monopoly on good ideas, and that often the magic happens when you get the right people in the room and they're all there for the right reasons. And so that's why I'm continuing the ComixLaunch Mastermind in 2020, is because it works. And I've seen creators have great breakthroughs and challenge preconceived notions and just get ideas and then run with those ideas, and then also continue to make connections with individual creators in the group over time. Some other creators that I've helped get into mastermind groups that I've not necessarily run myself, but still help facilitate and get them going. Scott Barnett's an example of one of them. He just mentioned the fact that he's getting together on a regular basis is keeping him honest, and has been very helpful to move his creative projects forward. Henry Pope III, who is in a ComixLaunch Mastermind that I helped create, said, actually having people to speak to about the ideas I have and things I want to create and to bounce ideas off of is great. And I didn't have that before. And again, it's sort of addressing that connection and lack of connection that, for many of us, the only time we have any connection with other creators is at conventions that we go to a couple times a year. And that's not enough. It's not enough to do the things that we want to actually achieve. And so my number one job as a mastermind facilitator is to assemble the right group of high caliber, serious creators and to facilitate a environment where they can all have a breakthrough year through support and accountability. And that's what the ComixLaunch Mastermind is all about. And it's great that we have a couple creators that have been in the ComixLaunch Mastermind that can share some of their perspectives. And so if you join the ComixLaunch Mastermind, it is a group of serious creators that is run and led each month by me, Tyler James of ComixLaunch. And it's for comic creators and publishers who are already on their creative journey. All right. You're already on the journey. This is not for someone that is just getting started. And what you're trying to do, is to move and to grow a creative business in the high 5 to 6 figure mark and beyond. Now, this is a group that is both for those of you that are, work a day job, work a 9 to 5, and your creative business is sort of a side hustle, a side business, but you still want that to grow. And I spent many years growing Comics Tribe on the side while working a 9-to-5 to the point where, Comics Tribe was at the 6-figure level even before I moved to full-time creator. All right. And that can happen. And there are plenty of creators in the group that have no desire to leave what they do because they love what they do on the 9-to-5, but they want to build something big on the side as well. And that's great around their creative passions. It's also for creators that they are full-time creators. They're all in and they want to build, big media empires and businesses as well as possible. So we have both of those in the group. And so what's included in the ComixLaunch Mastermind is it's a 6-month immersive mastermind experience. So we'll be working together for a minimum of 6 months when you commit. I ask creators to recommit to the group every 6 months, and that's sort of how we chunk. So there's a January. So what we're talking about now is the January 2020 through June, the end of June 2020 group. It includes monthly roundtable coaching and accountability calls where you will get together with your group and you're committing to get together with the group. And these calls happen once a month. There's also a private ComixLaunch Mastermind Facebook group where the group will continue discussions or will discuss things throughout the week, bring up topics as they come up. And we also, I will, from time to time, provide monthly themes and high performance exercises, things that address issues that come up that all creators are wrestling with, things like time management and focus and goal setting and things to that nature. So we provide some extra resources there. It also, we'll do accountability check-ins, ask creators to, when they commit something, there's actually some follow-up to determining that things actually get done. And really, you'll get a connection to a small group of high performers and achievers who are constantly going to have you on their minds for mutual support and benefit. What's also included in the ComixLaunch Mastermind, now, a big portion of the creators that will join the ComixLaunch Mastermind have gone through some or all of the ComixLaunch Pro courses and trainings that I've created. But you will have access as a ComixLaunch Mastermind member. For the time you're a member, you'll have access to the entire ComixLaunch Pro library of courses and training materials because so much of a lot of times we will reference in discussions, hey, you got to go do this training or do that training, depending upon what you're working on. And it's important that everyone just has access to the same playbooks of resources. You'll also, when you join, you'll have instant access to 6 ComixLaunch Mastermind masterclasses from industry pros, and you'll have the access to 3 more Mastermind masterclasses that will come in where I'll bring in accomplished guest lecturers that are going to speak on an area of creative expertise relevant to all creatives. And you can attend live, and you'll have access to the recordings. And I'll have more details on what the masterclasses are for the next group later on. But we've had a lot of creators that have had a lot of good things to say about the mastermind. Christopher Headmetal, he said that if you're thinking about joining the next section, I can promise you this: it's well worth your time and money. In the last 6 months, I've not only learned more than my brain can handle, I've taken actions toward my goals that I simply wouldn't have. And I wouldn't have plunged myself into if I hadn't have done this immersive experience. So do it. And that was Chris, and he helped get his first Kickstarter funded and put on a guitar helmet in the process. So the ComixLaunch Mastermind is by application only, and I'm only accepting applications from creators who can commit to making a mastermind group a priority in their lives for at least the next 6 months. They're ready. They're already on their journey and have a vision for where they want to go. They're looking to level up their creative business and their peer network, and they get genuinely excited about the prospect of contributing to the growth of other creators' businesses along with their own. And so the commitment is that you need to commit to at least 6 months. It's going to run from January through June 2020. And you got to commit to making the group and the people in it a priority in your life so that you can receive the benefits of a mastermind. It really is something where that, the more you give, the more you end up getting back in terms of investing in this group. And a lot of you are probably thinking, this sounds good, Tyler. Okay, tell me, what's the investment? And the first thing I want to just address is, like, why charge anything at all for this? And there are examples of free mastermind groups, and many people have free groups that they will start, or they'll try to start, and they'll find. And so why is there a cost to be a part of something like this? And I've had even some people ask me, Tyler, if you really wanted to help the most creators, why not make these groups free to join? And so beyond just the fact that the time and investment that I put into it is such that I need to, there needs to be a value on it. Beyond that, though, really what I've found, and what many creators that have tried to form groups like this have found, is that when it's easy to get in something, it's also very easy to get out of it. And there are free groups and free things all over the internet. But because it's free, it's easy to get, and it's easy to ignore, and it's easy to not commit. And the truth is, we do value what we pay for. And one of the ways that you say, you know what, I'm committed to this group, I'm committed to showing up, I'm committed to growing my business, I'm committed to getting a return on what I'm going to do it. One way that we show in this world how serious we are is that we actually will pay for something. It also, by having an investment and by having a minimum investment, it helps ensure that the people in this group are there to actually build their creative business and are not just there to hang out, right? It keeps the level of dialogue and the level of conversation and the level of, and the caliber of the group up to the point where the people that do decide to join are committed to seeing a return on what they commit there. And then the transformation also is in the transaction. All right. That means that when you actually do exchange value, right, and actually do commit and put some of your time and decide to commit some of your own resources and both time and money into this group, all of a sudden you become a different person, and you appreciate it a different way, and you show up for the meetings and actually keep these going. And I've heard a lot of creators that have tried to start groups like this and do not attach any kind of value exchange at the outset. They have a tough time getting people to stick with them, and a tough time to get people to actually show up. And if no one shows up, the value is not there. And so the good news is, most people, so again, this is not going to be for everybody. It's not, in fact, it's probably not going to be for most people, but the good news is a small focus group of 5 to 6 serious committed creators is all that's really needed for a mastermind group to thrive. And so the ComixLaunch Mastermind for January 2020 sessions for new members. Now, if you are an existing member of the ComixLaunch Mastermind, your enrollment will not change from what it was when you first signed up. That is one of the things that we do. Once you've enrolled, your investment will never go up. All right. So, and in fact, it goes for people that are returning it may actually go down a little bit compared to last time. So, but I'll be following up with existing members and just letting them know where they stand. But for January 2020 sessions, the cost of enrollment is $197 a month, or $997 paid in full for the full term. That's a one payment, which that works out to be about $5.88 per day with that. If you are an active ComixLaunch Pro member, meaning you're already a member of ComixLaunch Pro, there's a special discount price of $149 per month, or $797 paid in full. So you will save significantly if you're already a member of ComixLaunch Pro. And again, some of those additional perks for the ComixLaunch Mastermind members is that you do get 6 months of full access to everything in ComixLaunch Pro. And that's a tremendous amount of value, including all of our top ranked programs. So you'll get access to all of those if you don't already have them. You'll also get access to all of our master classes. Again, these master classes are examples of master classes that are already available. So we've got a first issue writing masterclass by John Lees. We've got a Hollywood primer from Sydney Sherman of Rosa Entertainment. Russell Nolte did a great presentation on some of his best secrets for running 5-figure Kickstarter anthology projects. We have a masterclass on business budgeting and money management for creatives. Ryan K. Lindsay, who's got pitches accepted from most publishers out there. He did a class on pitch perfection that a lot of creators in our group got a tremendous amount of value out of. And I personally, as a publisher, got a tremendous amount of value from the presentation by James Hake III of Scout Comics, who did a masterclass just showing what they're doing in order to really grow and to grow fast. And so all of these are included, as well as 3 more masterclasses that you'll have the opportunity to attend live next year. And so again, quick recap: 6 months of accountability, roundtable coaches and accountability calls, the private Facebook group, monthly themes and high performance exercises, accountability check-ins, ComixLaunch Pro membership, and access to a full library of all things ComixLaunch Pro for 6 months. You'll also be invited to attend masterclasses with guest experts, and you'll lock in your enrollment price so that it will never go up. $3,000 plus in value, and the investment is $197 per month. Or or you can save $197 with a single payment of $997, and it's $797 for active ComixLaunch Pro members. And this is special year 3 pricing. The price never goes down. It is the lowest price ever that we will offer for this group. And just another past member that left a testimonial said, I've been working with Tyler over the last year or so in the ComixLaunch Mastermind group. The skills and practices I've been exposed to and taught during that year have already paid for themselves, and I believe they'll be the cornerstone for my career moving forward. I recommend the ComixLaunch community unreservedly as an exceptional investment in your business. And working with Kevin, it's been great to see him just get multiple 5-figure Kickstarters launched and really level up the things that he's been doing. And I'm excited to see that his book Tart, which was Kickstarter funded, is now going to make it in the direct market next year through Scout Comics, which is very cool. So if you are interested in the ComixLaunch Mastermind for 2020, then let's talk. I've decided that this year, in order to ensure that the caliber of the creators is where it needs to be, and that everyone is a good fit for it, that I actually have to free up my schedule for the next 2 weeks and have a lot of calls and have a lot of conversations with creators, and to hear what you're working on, what your hopes and dreams and goals are for 2020, and whether or not a mastermind would be a great fit for it, specifically the ComixLaunch Mastermind. So I'm gonna literally clear out my schedule for the next couple of weeks to talk to creators. And so your next steps, if you're interested, is to first make sure that you meet the requirements. You should be someone who's already on your journey. You should be able to make this group a priority in 2020. You're excited about adding value for others as much as receiving it, and joining should be looked at as an investment for you, but it shouldn't be one that should overly burden you financially. If that's the case, then I want you to book a call with me and then fill out an application. What you'll do is you'll book a call with me. Basically, and on this call, we'll talk for about 30 minutes, and we'll talk about your creative dreams for 2020. And once, so you'll book a call, then you're going to carefully fill out an application before the call. So once after you've booked a time to talk to me, then you're going to be redirected to an application, and then you got to fill that out so that I have some context for our discussion. And then if a mastermind is a good fit, you'll be invited to enroll. And then if you're invited, if it's a good fit for both of us, then you'll have until December 31st to complete your enrollment. And we'll be looking forward to then getting started in the new year. So again, if you're on the fence about this at all, I just encourage you to book a call and fill out the application, because it'll help you get clarity on where you've been, where you're going, and what you need to get there, and then whether or not you decide to join a mastermind or not. I still, my goal is to give you some value and some of my best insights in the time that we chat together. So if you are interested, and if someone could put this link in the chat wherever you're watching it from, I would love, that would be a big help. But if you go to comixlaunch.com/mastermind call, you can book a time to call. I should also say, if you are an existing member of the ComixLaunch Mastermind, you do not need to book a call. You do not need to apply. And in rare occasions, everyone that, or in almost all occasions, everyone, like once you get your seat, the seat is yours for as long as you want it. And again, your investment never goes up or anything, and you can just lock in that seat. So it's a different process for re-enrolling, and I'll be following up with existing members about re-enrollment. So this is really just for new creators that are joining us. And that is one of the best things about it, is because we have a core group of creators that have been meeting over time, but every 6 months we inject some new talent and some new skills and some new challenges and struggles and opportunities to grow by bringing in new creators. And so it's this nice replenishing environment, but also does have a core base of creators that get together and so that's been supporting each other for years. So it's a great group to be a part of, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be leading it. So again, the first step is to just go book a call, comixlaunch.com/mastermind-call. You'll see a little Calendly setup there. You can pick your date and then pick your time. And I've tried to put in a lot of times so that there's some morning times, some afternoon times, some evening times. I built it around my schedule. But try to put a lot of time so that ideally, no matter where you are around the world, you can find a time that works for you. Again, once you've booked a time, then you will be redirected to this application, and you can just hit that start button, and it should just take a few minutes to fill out. But this is going to give you more context, and give me more context for who you are, what you're up to in 2020, and it'll also hopefully get you starting to think about what you need to make your next year the best year of your creative life so far. So again, the other thing that I'll say is that we only have a limited number of spots available, and the earliest that we open up again for enrollment isn't until July. So again, and this is these are always fluid until usually the end of the year, but we only have a limited number of spots, and this is only something that it will come, and these do fill up. So if you are interested, I really do encourage you to book your call as soon as possible. And so applications will be open. So calls and applications will be open starting now through the 20th of December. And so so we will talk, and then the deadline is between now and the 20th. If I need any follow up or any time, I'll review all applications, make final accepted creator notifications by the 23rd, and then if you decide to enroll, your payment for that, whether it's the single payment or the flexible payment plan, will be due the 30th, and then we start meeting in the second week of January. All right. So comixlaunch.com/mastermind call gets all of that started. Again, you'll have until the end of the month to make a final decision, but those call spots are limited. So if you are interested, I encourage you to book yours as ASAP. And again, the soonest we'll open again is July 2020. So if you're interested in sort of getting the new decade off to a great start, this can be one of those things that will be a game changer for you. And I hope it will be. And thanks so much for sharing your feedback on that, Phil, as well. I wanted to answer a couple of frequently asked questions, and if there are any other questions, feel free to either leave them on this post or ask them right now, and I will be happy to get to them. But one of the questions is, like, what time does the group meet? And this has changed from group to group to group, and from year to year to year. Currently, the groups meet on the second Wednesday of the month, and there's a 6 p.m. group and then a 9:30 p.m. group. Usually that 6 p.m. group also includes some international folks, our UK folks, which makes the time works out a little bit easier for them. And then we've got our night owl group as well, that runs from at 9:30 p.m. EDT. And so that's what it is now. Again, as the members, sometimes when the group is a little bit bigger, we'll add a third group at a third time. But this is sort of figured out for times that make the most sense for the groups. And we try to make sure that everyone gets their ideal meeting time. And there also is some flexibility. So sometimes things come up and people will miss one, can't make the later time, but they'll show up to the earlier one, and vice versa. Another question that comes up is, where are members located geographically? And I had someone ask like, hey, is this available in Ohio? And here's the deal. This is not a group that meets in person. Our members are actually all over the world. And so we meet virtually inside a private Zoom conference room. And in the past, our members have come primarily from the US, UK, Australia, and Canada. But creators from all over the world and all over the globe are encouraged to apply. Another question is, how big will the mastermind be? And it's fluctuated over time. It's been, anywhere between 12 and 22 members. And so usually that's how it is. And usually each of the meeting groups are usually between 6 and 10 members per group. And that lets it be enough so there's enough voices so you get a wide perspective, but also it's not so much so that, we can't hear from everybody. And so what we'll do is we'll have you either, 1, 2, or 3 groups that are getting together and that are meeting for the live mastermind sessions, but then all 3 groups are included in the private Facebook group, and all groups will get access to all of the other groups' live sessions. And so even if you only you'll attend one live session a month, but then you can watch the other group's live sessions. So see the other members' challenges, see the other members' hot seats. And so you get access to that group and you can watch that on your own time. And again, if you can't make a meeting for one reason or another, then you will have access to those replays as well, or you could attend the other meeting. And so are there any more questions? If there are, I'm looking around and I just want to acknowledge some folks. Dust Bunny Mafia said, looking to do multiple Kickstarters throughout the year. That's awesome. And I saw that you've got one, I think, teed up for January, which is absolutely thrilled to see. And a great way to start the year is with a successfully funded Kickstarter. Mindy Indy needs to grow her list and fan base more so I can reach Airhead number 2 and launch Airhead number 2 better. Yeah, I mean, audience growth is a big thing that we talk about and the big thing that we focus on inside that group and also inside the list launch program. And I'm actually haven't done any formal announcements to the Comics Launch Pro community, but I'm going to be doing some early on in January of 2020. I'm going to be doing some focused audience growth trainings, updating and sort of the latest and greatest for what's working now here in 2020. To grow audiences and to grow those engagements, because things do get updated and things do change, and having had the opportunity to work with so many creators in starting and growing their email lists, I want to lean into that heavily in 2020 because I still think it is the most important thing that you could be doing all the time to make that next launch an inevitable success. And so I'm glad to hear that you're working on that, and more will be coming from Comics Launch and beyond for that. And if you're a member of the Comics Launch Mastermind, you basically get access to everything that we work on as well. All right. So if there are any more questions, you guys know how to reach me. Just let me know. You can hit me up via Facebook Messenger. You can shoot me an email. You can leave a comment on this video. And most importantly, you can just book a call with me and be a part of, and we can talk about your situation and whether or not this is going to be right for you. So I am looking for creators who are saying, hell yes, I'm in to themselves right now. And comicslaunch.com/mastermind -call is where we can talk about that. So if you are a hell yeah, then that's what you should do. Again, between now and December 20th is the deadline for those mastermind applications. So you're going to want to get your call in before there. You want to get it scheduled, fill out that short app, and we'll rock and roll from there. And again, Mindy says, is there a payment plan option if we can't do to $197 a month? That is the payment plan option, Mindy. So if that's not something that works for you at this point, again, what I would do is I would focus on the Comics Launch Pro core courses. And you can shoot me a message and we can still get you in before the end of the year, before the main Comics Launch Pro price adjustment in 2020. And that starts at $99 a month for 12 months, and then you have lifetime access. And so that's where I would start, because then you'll have access to the list launch program. You'll have access to the extra training that we're going to be doing in January on list building. And ideally, you get to the point where you've leveled up your launches to then, hey, joining the Comics Launch Mastermind group would actually be a good fit for you. And so that would be what I would do if the $197 a month is not something that you could do at this point. That would be my best advice for you. All right, comicslaunch.com/mastermind-call is where it's at. And I'm looking forward to talking to some of you. And whether or not you decide to join us inside the Comics Launch Mastermind group next year or not, I really do appreciate your time and attention, and hope you enjoyed learning more about the concept. And I hope you stay open to the idea of being a part of a mastermind in 2020. It's made a big difference for a lot of creators. It's made a big mastermind groups have made a big difference for what I have personally been able to achieve over the past decade, and I want more of that for more creators like you. So stay connected, stay doing this. Have an awesome holiday season, and I can't wait to see what you all launch next. Take care.